Yes, we are continuing the poem A Legend of Northland. This is the second video I sent to you. I simply number the videos as V1, V2, V3, V4 because I may use 3 or 4 videos for a lengthy lesson. And this number will help you to choose the time and part you want to learn. I have already given you 3 ways of make use of the video: full listening, partial listening, and selective listening. For that, you may use these numbers: video 1, video 2, video 3, according to the length of the lesson. 1 minute. Sorry for that interruption. Let's move forward. We are through with the first answer. Let's move to the second one. I have already given you the information needed to understand the second stanza. The second stanza gives us the time when this story happens. Look at the season. Which season is referred to in the poem? The winter season. And what do the people in Northland do? They use sledges for transportation, mainly for transporting goods. What do they use? They use sledges. What kind of animals they do use? They use reindeers. Well, children, can you mention some other animals used for pulling sledges? Yes, dogs are used, not country dogs. All right. There are special breeds of dogs which are well known for their stamina, their strength, their ultimate obedience to the master, and their ferocity. So any dog cannot pull a sled, only trained dogs. But here they use reindeers. Second stanza, third line. And the children look like bears' cubs in their funny, furry clothes. What kind of clothes do children wear as they play outside their house? They wear furry clothes. What is fur? F-U-R-R. Fur. Fur means soft skin of animals. You think of woolen sweaters that we use during winter season. Woolen blankets. Wool is very soft, but it's really a comforting experience for us to cover our body using warm clothes during winter season. And then the poet uses a beautiful figure of speech in this stanza, which I would like to highlight and teach you. Look at the third line of the second stanza. And the children look like bears' cubs in their funny, furry clothes. They are wearing furry clothes or woolen clothes. And how do they appear? They look like bears' cubs. Cubs means young ones of bears. B-E-A-R as bears. The pronunciation is bear, not beer. I hear some people pronounce it as beer. It's not beer, it is bear. Bear cubs. How do they look like? They look like bear cubs. Well, here I have to spend some time teaching you the figure of speech that is used by the poet. The name of the figure of speech is simply S-I-M-I-L-E. Please write it down in your notebook or indicate in the textbook itself. I want you to underline look like bears' cubs. The children look like base cups. You may underline the whole line. Alright? Underline the whole line. Sorry for that interruption. That happens. No? Please bear with us. Simile. S-I-M-I-L-E. S-I-M-I-L-E. There are two figures of speech which the poet use based on comparison. There are two kinds of figures of speech based on comparison. They are metaphor and simile. I cannot simply teach you simile without mentioning metaphor because they are well attached to each other because one is the opposite of the other. Metaphor is a direct comparison of two unlike things, whereas simile is an indirect comparison of two unlike things. Look at the difference and look at the similarity. First, shall we go for similarity between these two figures of speech? Metaphor and simile. What is the similarity? They both are figures of speech based on similarities between two unlike things. A comparison between two unlike things. That is the common thing in figure of speech, metaphor and simile. And what is the difference? Simile is the opposite of metaphor. Then what is metaphor? Metaphor is a direct comparison of two unlike things. I like to explain with an illustration of metaphor. Listen carefully. I know that you have learned about Shivaji, the great Maratha king. In history you have learned. Let me make use of that name to teach you this beautiful figure of speech metaphor. And you are so familiar with the name lion, the lion, king of animals. One is a Maratha king, a human being. The other one is a ferocious wild animal. Are they different? Yes, they are different. They are not similar. They are unlike. But look at the comparison in my line. Shivaji was a lion in the battle. Once again, Shivaji was a lion in the battle. Here, Shivaji is directly called a lion. That is the meaning of direct comparison of two unlike things. One is a human being, the other one is a wild animal. They are compared directly. The poet directly called Shivaji the lion. That kind of comparison is called a metaphor. Simile, which is used in the second stanza, is the opposite of metaphor. Let me give you the definition. Simile is an indirect comparison of two unlike things. Once again, simile is an indirect comparison of two unlike things. Here, what are the unlike things? Shivaji, the Maratha king, and then a wild animal. What is common between them or in them? Ferocity, courage. How did Shivaji fought in a battle? Like a lion. Underline the word, like a lion. Shivaji fought like a lion in the battle. Once again, Shivaji fought like a lion in the battle. There we find an indirect comparison of two unlike things, and that is called a simile. Once again, repeat the word simile. Simile. S-I-M-I-L-E. Simile. Don't make it smile. All right. Look at the spelling and pronounce it correctly. Simile. Thus, the poet achieves his goal. Achieves his goal. What is his goal? To attract his readers to that particular stanza. The poets use such figures of speech to attract the readers, make their writing interesting for the readers. Now I wanted to visualize that effect of simile. How did the children appear? They appear like where cups, young ones of where, because of the winter season, snow fall on them and the whole body is covered with snow, and from distance we can simply feel a bunch of cotton is moving. Now, I wanted to visualize that effect in there, and they look funny. Who look funny? The children who are playing outside look funny because their legs are not visible, their hands are not visible separately or distinctly, their head is not differentiated by those who are looking at them. They simply appear like bare cups which are covered with snow moving, not with long steps, with short step. We can use the word scooting. You know the meaning of scooting, no? Run with small steps. They run with small steps and the whole snow is moving. That's why the poet uses the word funny. They really look funny. Aren't they? Yes. With that, let's move to the third stanza. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe it's true. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. In a poem, somebody always talks. Who is that person talking? It is the poet. It's the poet. Sometimes we may be reading a narrative poem in which we find the characters in the story speaking. But other than these characters, there is always another person talking or telling or narrating. It is the poet. Even if it is not a narrative poem, we must consider that someone is talking to us, we readers. Here the poet is narrating the story, and here and there we may use the pronoun I, first person I. So who should come to your mind that time when you read the word I? The poet himself. All right? Think of the poet. The poet now takes us slowly to the story. In the first two stanzas, he gives a vivid picture of the time and surrounding and the place of the story happening. And then he begins the third stanza with yet another introductory statement. They tell them a curious story. Who are they? They means people. They means people. Tell them. Who are them? You are confused. No? Who are they and who are them? They are people who tell the story. And who are them? Their listeners. People who tell and their listeners are referred to as they and them respectively. Got it? They tell a curious story. Curious means very interesting and something that evokes curiosity. A curious story. I don't believe it's true. The poet confirms that he doesn't believe in such stories. And he doesn't feel it's a true story, but he wants to narrate the story. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. Underline the word tale. Tale means T-A-L-E. Tale means story. Even though the poet doesn't believe in such kinds of stories and hold them to be true, he says the story has a moral lesson to share with us, and that's why he considers this poem or this story valuable. If I tell the story to you and if I give you the moral, you may also value this story. If I tell the tale to you, it will give you a moral. Shall we take that moral? For that, let's go to the fourth stanza. What is the usual way of starting a story? The traditional way of narrating a story. Once upon a time, here the poet uses the word once and he uses a comma. So you can simply fill in the blanks by filling in with the words upon a time. Once, when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, you know. Once, the good Saint Peter was going around the world preaching. Here I would like to give the biblical background to the character, the main character coming in the story, Saint Peter. Saint Peter is considered to be one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ mentioned in the Bible. All of you have heard about disciples of Jesus Christ. In case you haven't, my explanation may help you. Jesus Christ, while doing ministry on this earth, selected 12 disciples. And another word used in the Bible for disciple is apostles. A-P-O-S-T-L-E-S, apostles. So Saint Peter was one of them, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. Apostle means a messenger. To understand what Saint Peter was doing in that part of the land, I would like to again give you a biblical background. Before descending to heaven, after his resurrection, Jesus gave his 12 disciples a work. Just before ascending to heaven, Jesus Christ gave his 12 disciples a work to be completed on this earth. Go and preach the gospel. Gospel means good news. Good news refers to the salvation which is available if you turn to God. That was the message they were supposed to preach till their death. Whose death? The apostles' death. And then Jesus left. He ascended to heaven. That is the biblical background to the main character in the story, Apostle Peter. And what is the meaning of saint? Saint means holy. Saint means holy, referring to the disciple of Jesus Christ. In fact, Jesus gave them extra power. He anointed them for that great work of preaching the gospel. Now let us come to that point of the poem with that understanding of Apostle Peter. Now do you know why Apostle Peter was there that time in the story? I hope you understood. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about preaching, walked about means traveled. He traveled length and breadth of the earth to preach the gospel. He came to Northland. He happened to be in Northland and walked about it preaching just as he did, know. That you know is just a connective uh, element in the narration. You know, you know, you know. So it is a colloquial expression which means connecting the speaker's words to the next sentence or line that he wants to speak. Okay. Take it as a connective. Well, in CBSE syllabus, we may have to learn more about connectives. In Tamil lessons, we may learn. Let's go to the fifth stanza. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the earth. Once again, he came to the door of a cottage in traveling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. While he was going around preaching, he happened to visit that place, Northland. There he came to a door of a house. Cottage means house, small house. It's called cottage. In traveling around there, I have already explained to you under what circumstances the apostle was there. He was traveling the length and breadth of the earth, preaching the gospel, where a little woman was making cakes. A small lady, a woman, a mother, was baking cakes. Oh, what is the meaning of cake? You may immediately think of a bakery where they sell different kinds of cakes. But here, should we take that meaning? Or another meaning is there? Come on. Find out the contextual meaning here. Not a don't think of a delicious cake which is baked in a bakery. Of course, what mentioned here is also baked in a bakery. Here, you can think of bread, B-R-E-A-D, bread. And breads are of different kinds. Wheat bread, raw bread, red bread, green bread, sweet bread. So many kinds of breads are there. And also, there are many shapes which the bakers use to produce or make or bake cakes. You can think of chapatis that we prepare, or paratha that we prepare. All such things prepared using wheat or flour is called bread. Take that meaning. She was preparing bread and baking them on the hearth. What is the spelling? H-E-A-R-T-H. And what is the pronunciation? Pronunciation hearth. Hearth. All of you repeat after me. Hearth. Not her. Hearth. What is hearth? Fireplace. Hearth means fireplace. Then you may wonder what fireplace is. You think of people using firewood to cook. How do they prepare their oven, their equipment for cooking, a device for cooking? Even 3 stones are used for protecting and keeping the vessel on in which you cook. Underneath you prepare fire, isn't it? Think of such kind of a fireplace. Even in cold regions, they have the corner of the sitting room used for keeping fire to warm their room. That's also called fireplace. But in this context, what is the meaning of fireplace? The kitchen where they prepare food using coal or firewood. Since it is a cold region, you can think of coal being used as one of the things for using fire. She was baking cakes on the earth. That's the time when the saint went there. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked us from her store of cakes to give him a single one. Once again, stanza 6. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. The saint requested the lady to give him a piece of bread or a loaf of bread to eat. Why? It was evening time and he was very hungry and tired. Look at the first line of the stanza. And being faint with fasting. Underline the word fasting. From that you may understand why the apostle is very tired. Whole day he was fasting. Well, what is the meaning of fasting? Going without food to torment yourself to please God as part of worship. Almost all religions have this practice of leaving food and spending time in prayer or meditation. Almost all the religions do it. Okay. That's the meaning of fast. All day he was fasting and praying and preaching. So by the end of the day he was very tired, and that's why he approached this lady requesting her to give him bread to quench his hunger. He asked her from his store of cakes to give him a single one. That single one is very important, and then store of cakes is also important in our understanding of the situation in which the apostle begs for food. Look here, this lady is cooking and storing for the future, maybe for a week. We know that such baked items can be preserved at least for a week. Here, we can assume that the lady prepares bread for the entire week, and the apostle asks for just one piece, not many pieces, just one piece to quench his hunger. Keep this in your mind. One piece, not many pieces, just one piece, a single one, a single one, a single parota. Don't use the word parota in your answers, okay? Only to make you understand what the apostle asked for is only to make you understand. I use the word parota or chapati. 7th stanza. So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. There I am going to stop in the second video. Let me explain to you the meaning. She made the cake for the apostle. But as it was being cooked on the hearth, she looked at it. I wanted to imagine the lady looking at that cake being cooked or baked in the hearth. While it was lying there being cooked, she looked at it and thought, what did she think? It is too large to give away. Here we can see a very stingy lady, a very stingy person, not willing to give to others. The apostle asked for just one piece, but as she was cooking that bread, she looked at it and thought, oh, it is too much for me to give to others. Underline, phrase give away. Give away. Give away means to give as a present. Give away. Give as a present. She has been cooking. Now, what is she cooking for? Cooking for giving to the saint as a gift, as a present. And when she looked at it, that appeared too big for her to give. Actually, it was a small piece that she was cooking. But when she looked at it, it appeared very big. And she thought, how can I give this to him? I had the whole family to be fed the whole week. That attitude has to be underlined, double underlined in your mind as we wait for the next video to come. Thank you very much for your careful listening. This video number 2 with the title A Legend of the Northland. As you go for the third kind of reading and watching, what is it? Yes? Partial listening, selective listening, or full listening. Whatever it is, you may refer to the number. In every video, I would mention V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Alright? Thank you very much for your careful listening. Patiently wait for the next video to arrive. Thank you very much.